What's up guys, it's Elliot here. Welcome to today's video. Today I'm here with May! So today we are filming a video about things we wish we knew before we were in college. May, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm May. I'm a sophomore at Brown University studying public health, and I also make YouTube videos about college and how to get into college and college life. College. I think a lot of times movies, books, society in general kind of creates this image of college, and it's not always the most accurate representation. For example, when I was growing up, I always thought college was all about parties and free time and Yeah, no, for sure. When I was applying to colleges, I always had the perception that after studying for 4 years in high school just to get into this institution, that I would finally be free, that I would have no responsibilities, that I'd be partying every day. But that's definitely not the case. College is a time where you can really take reins on what you want to do, not only in terms of your education, but also in terms of what internships you want to do, what extracurriculars you pursue during your day, because classes only take up maybe...
I mean, it really depends, but it doesn't take
class
the
time
entire
doesn't
day.
take that much time.
Yeah. Now that we're in college, I think we've realized that a lot of the things that we thought were true about college isn't necessarily true. So we're here to debunk some of those myths and tell you guys what college is really all about. Oh, by the way, I'm still in Boston and we're on Harvard's campus, so it's kind of an appropriate topic to talk about, I think. First thing that we talked about was the fact that you can eat alone in college and it's completely fine. So many people have different schedules in college that it's really hard to get it all lined up where you're eating with your friends every day. Obviously, if you have a schedule every single day that's same throughout the week, then you can meet up with the same friends, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes you're too busy and so you can't afford to eat with your friends, and that's completely fine. So many people eat alone, whereas I think sometimes in high school it's not looked down upon, but some people might give you a glance if you're eating alone.
Because in high school there's a set time where everyone gets together and eats lunch, there's a lot of social pressure to fit in and make friends so that you can be seen with other people while you're eating lunch. But in college, honestly, no one cares. Actually scheduling time to hang out with your friends takes up a lot of effort. You don't just go and hang out with your friends as often, I think, in college, so it definitely takes a lot more effort and time. So eating by yourself is definitely not a bad thing, and you can't really eat with someone every single meal.
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot on my channel, but making friends in college is so difficult, and I think people don't talk enough about it. When you go to college, you're most likely going from one state even to another, or even a country to another, so you're really put into a situation where you don't know anyone at all, and making friends really does take time. When I first got to Brown during orientation, it seemed like there were already cliques forming, that people already found their friends, but it's more of an image thing, and I think you don't really truly find your friends until months into college even, and some people don't even find their closest friends in sophomore year or even senior year, so there's definitely no time pressure to making friends, and even if you don't find the closest of friends, you don't really necessarily need to make that a priority of yours, because you can just you can have friends just to enjoy spending time with them, and that's not a bad thing at all.
And kind of going off of that, I feel like it wasn't really until second semester sophomore year, which is literally this semester, where I felt like I was really developing a friend group.
Versus in high school where you might have had a group of friends that you spent time with all the time, I think in college you have friends sprinkled around in different groups for different reasons. I think the concept of having one best friend who sort of satisfies all your academic and I don't know how to say this, I don't want to say needs, but I don't think there's a such thing as having a perfect friend who relates to you on every single level, and especially in college where everyone has super diverse interests and has specialized in their own sort of niche. I think having different friends for different reasons, for example, friends who you do homework with and work with, friends who you talk about internships with, friends who you just chill with, who you go party with, sort of things like that, and you might even just make friends in some of the organizations that you're in on campus. Another thing that I was talking to Elliot about earlier is that the ratio of time that you spend doing your activities like extracurriculars and club stuff or internships versus the time that you spend studying very much differs depending on what your goals are for your career and also what major you are. So personally for me, I'm pre-med, and a lot of what I do in college revolves around studying and preparing for the MCAT. So I have to take my courses very seriously in terms of spending a lot of time studying and memorizing for them. But at the same time, I do things outside of school. like doing research and volunteering, and balancing those is really important. But the proportion of time I spend studying on my classes probably differs a lot from Elliot, who is doing business at Vanderbilt.
Certain majors, it's just less of a priority. So for example, in business, a lot of your priorities lies within getting an internship and networking, and that type of stuff is not necessarily the stuff that you learn in the classroom, and so you might place less of an emphasis on grades. And I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but it definitely depends on, again, what your goals are, and it differs on an individual basis.
Yeah, so what we're trying to say is, if you see someone who's spending a lot more time doing crazy internships in school instead of studying for their classes, and you feel like you're not doing enough, don't feel the need to compare yourself, because what you're doing is dependent on what you want to do for the future, and is very different from what someone who is doing a lot of internships might be studying. So
another realization I had about college was that you actually have a lot more time than you did in high school, and obviously you have the same amount of time, but it feels like you have more because you have less of scheduled events. So for example, in high school you might have class like 7-8 a.m. in the morning, and then you get off around 3 or 4, and then after that you have to go to clubs if you're involved, and after that you have to do homework, study for tests, and then go to sleep early so that you can wake up early the next day. And it can be a lot.
And notice how he's saying have to, because a lot of the things that we did in high school were sort of forced. Like, we had gen ed requirements, and now that I'm in Brown, like, we don't have any gen ed requirements. It's so great because you get to actually choose what you want to do in terms of what you study, what your passions are, and being the architect of your own education. It's such a buzzword, but it's really true. I think now in my classes, now that I'm in more upper div public health courses, the people who are in my classes not only have a lot of knowledge in terms of public health and what we're studying academically, but also have a lot of experience interacting with the community through their internships. So it's a really cool difference, being surrounded by experts, I guess, in their own respect in college.
So for example, when you get done with class, you pretty much can do anything you want with your entire day, right? You have a life to live outside of school. So I know plenty of people who will get off campus and go into the city. For example, I live in Nashville, so people will go into the city, maybe explore if they have some time, but
I'm literally not on break right now, and I'm in Boston instead of Providence.
No, exactly.
So this is literally there's a lot of
exactly.
freedom.
And sometimes you don't even have to go to class. It depends on your professors or the school itself, but there are some professors who are lenient about class attendance, and it is really up to you what you do with the rest of your time, which is pretty sick.
Pretty sick.
Yeah. I don't know if this is necessarily an assumption I had about college, but I definitely do think it's important to note that students in college have to really manage their own schedules, and a lot of times your schedules will not align with your friends. At least in high school, when you have classes, you start classes at the same time, you guys end at the same time, so then that remaining time is kind of overlapped. But in college, you might have classes at different times, you might have different club meetings, and you might have a number of other commitments, and so it can be really hard to schedule things in with friends, especially if you have a group of friends. It can be really hard to coordinate. So I think it's important to make time to try to make plans with your friends, because if you don't make that conscious effort, then it's just not going to happen, because it's really inconvenient to kind of match up the schedules, because everyone has such different schedules.
Yeah, so when you factor in priorities, it not only includes your academics and extracurriculars, but it also includes your social life and your friendships. I think maintaining friendships definitely takes effort. It's like watering a plant. Like, you gotta remember to do that shit every once. Sorry, I can't curse on your channel. Yeah, you gotta do that shit every once in a while. Like, you gotta attend to your friendships and relationships and Google Calendar. Like, when to meet. Like, literally, I've had when to meets to schedule hangouts with my friends. Like, scheduling is key.
Nice. Alright, so we'll probably end the video here. Hopefully this video kind of helped break some of the assumptions that you guys have about college, or if you're in college and you still have these assumptions, maybe this kind of gave you an idea of what our experiences were with these assumptions. But I also filmed a video with May on her channel, so I'll link that down below. Be sure to check that out and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, and as always, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.